upper layer of the whole nation. 109 out of 250 million people. So it carries what we call integrity. And for the past 2 weeks, the integrity has gone down. Just because of mere trivial matter of allocating seats and so on. We don't want to know what is undercurrent. God so kind. Those people who push you to assist, they have confessed. And I have prayed for him that may God forgive him and Jubril for pushing you to have mercy on who. God even said, I will have mercy on who I will have mercy on. Not everybody. And it has even taught you a lesson. You have to look at the whole issue critically before you even act. Today, everywhere, including Berekete Radio, calling number 3 to come and explain things. Just a radio that we licensed. It's an insult. My own now is how to bring this integrity back. Once a damage is done, to bring it back, it's a long story. All of us must have to work hard. Within this period, we have to bring it back. As per the punishments attached, if I saw one of our leaders today sweating before channel, I said, issue of what? There's no other paper that. My own is that, how do we bring the integrity back? Because we are in a serious situation of tax law, where we are going to make tax law to benefit common people. How do they believe us? Fighting on seat. No. Mr. Senate President and the leadership, we have to call a spade a spade. We have a Bible here, and this is the first one to be given to us, followed by Nigerian Constitution. And we have a lot of lawyers here. Please, let us do our work seriously. And after that, we can be friends. It has shown you now that there is no friend. You don't have any friend, though. So, today, tomorrow, we don't know what will happen. The only friend to you is your wife and your children and God. We are praying for you, you will succeed, but let us face what we are here for. And that's my own. As regards the punishment, well, if it is the 6 months we are talking, if you are going to have mercy 3 months as prescribed by our minority leader, how well and good a punishment is a punishment. Today, we don't even know what will happen tomorrow. Maybe the whole Federal High Court in Lagos and Abuja will be bombarded again. Let us do our work. Thank you very much.
Mr. Agbalagba promotion. That's his own. He is more concerned about the integrity, but they are not bold enough to tell Akpabiole to step aside, because the person that brought this your shame in quotes to you is Akpabiole's prick, right? That doesn't really have any control. You know, somebody said that you have to talk to your prick. And another person says, your own prick, they listen to you. It's like, it is a common sense thing. When you should have a self-control, especially in the place of work, so that things like this will not be popping up. You know what I mean? So, if somebody has now brought shame to the house, the right thing to do is not to shield him. All right? The right thing to do is to ask him to step aside. When he is investigated and found not wanting, then you can bring him back to continue as your number 3. But the shame that some of you are trying to cover, we don't know. Like he said, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Tomorrow is another day. You just have no idea where this is headed. or is heading somewhere. No wonder. To stop their colleagues in the Senate, including the supposed opposition, like APC, Egbekegbe currently have 57 members plus Akpabiole. Oppositions combined, they have 52 members. So do you see how close that is? But they are all esprit de corps. Okpeyewon Bawandele, the Omuale Yoruba, representing Tinubu in that chamber, the one that rejected the regionalism, rejected the restructuring, by the way, and said that the current status quo as it is fine until when they are no longer in power. Then they will begin to talk about restructuring, regionalism, and others. He moved the motion today to say Akpabiole, they should move a motion of confidence, a vote of confidence in Akpabiole. That no matter what Natasha or any other group of women says about Akpabiole, the Senate must stand by him. They must stand with him. They must make sure that, and all of this is just to secure his own bag, his own monthly bag, remember? Then Akpabiole himself, who has now regained his mojo, Akpabiole was like, I want to play with you members because I have 4 girls. I think he has 4 girls, like daughters, right? Said, no, don't judge women don't judge my daughters because of these women, okay? Because I've got daughters too. The thing is that if Akpabiole's daughters comes home, says that they have been sexually harassed by someone who is probably like, a senior colleague at work or their mate in school, sexually harassed them, with Akpabiole, right, automatically pushed, or with the Okpeyewon Bawandele pushed what is called a vote of confidence in those men. Majority of these guys, right, they are like the Abeniloris, the executioner that is always so afraid of sword. They say the Abenilori to Ori. So an executioner, right, that chop people's head off, if you dare play with sword next to his head, he'll become so paranoid. That's exactly what these guys are. Now, the 2 clowns, by the way, Bawandele and Akpabiole.
Again, some of the critics have also said we have no right to even suspend a member of this parliament or this Senate. Again, I will leave that within the context of jurisprudence, as the courts will always speak to that. But it is very clear on our rules as to how far we can go. And we are not of the opinion that we are in breach of either the Constitution or any of our rules. Again, Section 60 of the Nigerian Constitution confers on this Parliament the constitutional right to regulate its own procedure. And Section 1, subsection B of our rules book also makes it clear by reiterating that constitutional authority granted to us by Section 60 of our rule, of the Constitution, giving us the right to regulate our procedure. And suspension, as far as we are concerned, is the only alternative to the kind of anarchy that the nation witnessed in the past, where members of parliament had reasons to shout, to get physically engaged with each other, to engage in acts of violence, to tear each other's clothes, and, do all manners of things. We are moving, thank God that we are moved away from that. It also shows that democracy is growing, nascent as it might appear to be. And if there are people who still have issues with whether or not we can even suspend an erring legislator who have refused or who is refusing to work within the rules, I believe, again, like I said, is for the court to continue to adjudicate, on that, unless the Constitution is amended, taking away the authority for us to regulate our own procedure. And then, of course,
it's also important for the public to know that whatever decision we arrive at here is unanimous. And I recall the last decision we took, and which concerned one of our sisters here, the senior Senator Natasha Akpoti. I'm also aware that when she left the chambers, she went to Brakete Radio, and she went to Arise Television, and she distorted the facts. I'm aware further that she has now externalized the matter by attempting to embarrass the Federal Republic of Nigeria by going to give a narrative at the IPU UN event, totally different from what occurred in the Senate. But I want to thank our Right Honorable Member, Kafilat, right? That's her name. Kafilat Okwara, who had to give a press conference in New York to caution the international press not to vilify Nigeria, but to note that the facts presented by her were totally out of tune with what occurred in the Nigerian parliament, and that we have our own internal mechanisms of resolving issues in Nigeria. And outside this parliament, we also have the judiciary, which is even standing before the judiciary. So I don't know why even here, she has brought a petition, and she has not allowed us to even look into it. She went to court, and then she has not allowed the court to look into it. She has gone to the international community, and she may not even allow the international community to look into it. She may decide to run to I don't know where. I don't want to be misquoted, but the reality is that we remain resolute. We are law-abiding. We operate through the rules of the Senate, which is an extension of the powers and privileges given to us by the ground norm, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We still are open to making sure that we remain in peace, and we left room for her to recognize that what she's doing may even frighten a lot of men in future from even appointing or selecting female deputy governors. You can imagine if somebody like Kamala, the immediate past vice president of the United States, were to go on CNN to say that Biden, the president, sexually assaulted her by shaking her hand or by holding her hand to show her the office of the president, then automatically it means that nobody will pick another woman as vice president. But I have 4 daughters, so I want to plead with politicians, still give my 4 children a chance. Do not take the action of one person and punish others. My religion and the Bible are forbidden that the sins of the father will no longer be visited on the children. So please, we still have so confidence in our female folk. In this 10th assembly of the Senate, we have only 4 women, and the 4 of them are all committee chairmen, intentionally, in order to give a voice to women in the parliament. So I thank you for this vote of confidence. I will not take it for granted, and I also have confidence in you and your ability to continue to contribute your quota towards nation building. Let's remain focused on why we are here. These things are distractions and diversionary. May God Almighty bless all of you. May God, using this Ramadan and Lent period, endow you with more wisdom, protect you, protect your families, and then bring more prosperity to our nation through Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Can we say amen? I thank you. Hence,
nuisance lele.
You hear that? Eh? Comparing what he did to Natasha Akpoti Oduan. So the relationship between Joe Biden and Kamala. Did you hear the part where he said, imagine if Kamala Harris accuses Joe Biden of sexual harassment simply because Joe Biden shakes her hand? or Joe Biden held her hand to show her his office, presidential office. So which means, like Natasha said, that when other senators and other, including herself and her husband, visited Akpabiole, not in Abuja, but in Uyo, the state capital of Akwa Ibom, that Akpabiole held on to her, right? And while trying to show her his house, Akpabiole told her that they can have a lot of fun together, that he has a way of organizing fun. Meanwhile, her husband was behind them, that she was like, why would you even say this like this? He said it like so, like nonchalantly, somehow. She gets that he didn't care in the world. If anybody wants to hear, let them hear. That jotted her, as she stated. Now, they didn't let her present her petition. Remember that the first time she presented her petition, it was this Onimuoru, Omoale Yoruba, Opeyewonbawandele, that stood up and said, a senator cannot petition the Senate by herself in her name, that the petition was wrong. Meanwhile, that same day, the supposed chairman of Senate Committee on Ethics, or whatever, came out and said, our petition is dead on arrival. That same day, they were all saying that she must be suspended, she must be suspended. So the following day, she came back. This time around, the petition she's submitting was like a petition written on her behalf by her own constituents. By then, again, they did not take her petition. They didn't. There was a court case that said, because they've already started talking about how to suspend her, to punish her, remove her from here. So she went to court, got a court injunction that said they must not suspend her. But they went ahead 24 hours later to still suspend her. They said the court cannot tell them how to run their business in the Senate. So her petition was not looked into, never investigated, and she got suspended for 6 months. And they all claim that it is because he did not accept the seat given to her by Akpabiole. Why would you suspend somebody for 6 months because of seats? Nah, that's not true. That's a lie. It reeks of cover-up. And they kept saying that she should go and apologize. I mean, listen to this. So, on the one hand, he is suspended because he did not accept her seat. On the second hand, allegation against Akpabiole is so massive that men will become so worried about giving women opportunities in politics. What are you talking about? I thought it was about unruly behavior, about seats. Right. So the whole punishment is about the fact that she boldly rose twice to tell all of you that Akpabiole sexually assaulted her. And not just that, Akpabiole abused his power and prevented her. Akpabiole prevented her from doing her own duty as a lawmaker. These are the 3 allegations. So why are you trying to shut her up? Like, then they went to see her and told her, our own colleague from the same political party, people destroying people, they told her to go and apologize, write a letter and say you are sorry. Okay, which apology letter should Natasha write? The one that she rejected the new seat that Akpabiole gave her, or she should apologize for the sexual harassment allegation against Akpabiole and withdraw it? Is that the because I don't get it. I don't. So they needed to continue to remind themselves that we need to rally around this Randy Predator as number 3 man in Nigeria. So we must use everything within our means to make sure that this guy doesn't go down. What stops him from stepping aside and volunteer himself, submit himself to the normal scrutiny to clear his name? Why is he so afraid of stepping down to get investigated? Why are they afraid of investigating him? Because they are all randy, they are all predators, pedophiles as well. Even though Natasha is not an underage, but I know what I'm talking about. It is the house of predators, sexual predators, and their victims are many. You know, their victims are many. But let's leave. Oh, give me a sec. What happened to my? Okay. Sorry, I think I have lost the